Ma'am, come with us, now.
What? I'm just waiting for the bus.
She's American. What's your probable cause? Step back or you're under arrest. Then arrest me. You're not taking her.
ICE agents Marcus Webb and Sofia Rodriguez thought they were detaining an undocumented immigrant at a Los Angeles bus stop on September 12, 2024. But when they grabbed Kenya Thompson, a 28-year-old U.S. citizen born in Compton, and ordered her to come with them, they made a critical mistake. They didn't notice Marcus Blake, a 34-year-old legal rights advocate, a community organizer, a trained legal observer who knew immigration law better than most federal agents, and a man who wasn't going to let them take an American citizen based on assumptions and racial profiling. What happened next, captured on 3 cameras from 3 angles, would go viral with over 15 million views, cost both agents their careers, trigger a $4.2 million settlement, and prove that knowing your rights and having witnesses who refuse to stay silent can stop illegal government action. Before we continue, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments. And if stories like this matter, hit subscribe. September 12, 2024, 2:47 p.m. Bus stop on South Vermont Avenue in South Los Angeles. Temperature 89 degrees. Kenya Thompson stood waiting for the Metro 204 bus. She wore light blue medical scrubs from her job as a home health aide. She'd just finished an 8-hour shift caring for elderly patients. She was tired. She was scrolling on her phone. She just wanted to go home. Across the street, Marcus Blake was conducting what he did 3 afternoons a week, legal observation patrols. For 3 years, Blake had volunteered with a community protection organization monitoring ICE enforcement in South LA. He wore a black vest with Legal Observer in bright yellow letters. He carried a professional video camera. He had a second body camera on his vest. He knew federal immigration law. He knew constitutional rights. And he knew ICE tactics. He saw the black SUV pull up. Unmarked, but obvious. Federal plates. Tinted windows. He'd seen that vehicle before. He started recording immediately. 2 agents stepped out. Marcus Webb, 41, 8 years with ICE. Sofia Rodriguez, 36, 6 years with ICE. Both in tactical gear with ICE badges visible. They walked directly to Kenya. "Ma'am, we need to see identification." Kenya looked up from her phone. Confusion crossed her face. "Why?" "We need to verify your immigration status." Blake crossed the street. His camera pointed at the agents. A third observer down the block, Jessica Chun, was filming from another angle. 3 cameras. 3 angles. Everything documented. "She's American," Blake said, his voice calm but firm. "On what basis are you detaining her?" Webb turned. Saw the cameras. Saw the yellow legal observer vest. His expression hardened. "Sir, this is federal business. Step back or you're under arrest for obstruction." "Then arrest me," Blake said evenly. "But you're not taking her without probable cause." Rodriguez stepped closer to Kenya. "Ma'am, where were you born?" Blake spoke before Kenya could answer. "Don't answer that. You're not required to prove citizenship. They need reasonable suspicion first." "We have reasonable suspicion," Webb said. "Based on what?" Blake challenged. "Cite specific articulable facts. What about this woman led you to believe she's violated immigration law?" "She matches a description we received." "What description? Physical characteristics? Clothing? Behavior? Be specific." Webb didn't answer. "You don't have a description," Blake said. "You saw a black woman at a bus stop and made assumptions. That's racial profiling, and it's unconstitutional." "Immigration enforcement," Rodriguez said. "Final warning. Move aside." "She invoked her right to remain silent," Blake replied. "You have no warrant. What's your legal justification for this seizure?" "This doesn't concern you. It concerns every citizen when federal agents violate the 4th Amendment on a public street." Webb reached for Kenya's arm. "Ma'am, you need to come with us for questioning." "Don't touch her," Blake said sharply. His camera zoomed in on Webb's hand. "You have no authority to seize her without probable cause." Kenya pulled her arm back. She was crying now. "I just want to go home. I didn't do anything." Blake looked at her. "Ma'am, do you consent to going with these agents?" "No," Kenya said, her voice shaking. "I want to leave." Blake turned back to the agents. "She doesn't consent. She's invoking her right to leave. You're illegally detaining her." Rodriguez pulled out her radio, requesting backup at Vermont and Slauson. Uncooperative subject. Interference from observer. Uncooperative. Blake's voice was louder now. "She's a U.S. citizen exercising her constitutional rights. And I'm not interfering." I'm documenting a civil rights violation. That's protected First Amendment activity. A crowd was gathering. People at the bus stop watching. Some recording on phones. The bus pulled up, but the driver saw the confrontation and didn't open the doors. An elderly black woman stepped forward. Leave her alone. She lives on my street. I know her family. Another voice. This is wrong. She's American. Webb looked around. Cameras everywhere. Witnesses. His training hadn't prepared him for this. Most people just complied. Most people didn't know their rights. Most people were too scared to resist. Blake pulled out his phone. I'm calling the ACLU immigration hotline. They need to hear this. He dialed. Put it on speaker. A voice answered. ACLU immigration rights hotline. This is Marcus Blake, legal observer in South LA. ICE agents are attempting to detain a U.S. citizen without probable cause. Vermont and Slauson. I need immediate legal intervention. Stay on the line. We're recording. Tell the agents an ACLU attorney is listening. Blake held up the phone toward the agents. There's an attorney on this call. They're hearing everything. Recording everything. The ACLU attorney spoke, her voice clear through the speaker. Ma'am, are you a U.S. citizen? Yes, Kenya said. I was born in Compton. Do you consent to going with these agents? No. I want to go home. Agents, the attorney's voice was firm. You're conducting an unlawful detention. You have no warrant. No probable cause. The subject has identified as a U.S. citizen and refused consent. If you proceed, you will face federal civil rights litigation. Release her immediately. Webb and Rodriguez looked at each other. Ma'am, Rodriguez said to Kenya, if you just show us ID, we can verify your status and you can go. Blake interjected. She's not legally required to carry identification. This is the United States. But it's her choice. Kenya, hands shaking, pulled her California driver's license from her backpack. She held it up. Rodriguez took it. Read it. California driver's license. Kenya Thompson. Born March 15, 1996. Compton, California. She handed it back without a word. You're free to go, Webb said flatly. She was always free to go, Blake said. She didn't need your permission. She's a citizen on a public sidewalk. The agents walked back to their SUV. Got in. Drove away. Kenya stood there trembling. The bus doors finally opened. Blake handed her a card. File a complaint with ICE and the ACLU. What they did was illegal. You have rights. Kenya nodded, still crying. Thank you. I didn't know what to do. You did great. You stayed calm. You didn't consent. She got on the bus. Blake watched it pull away. Then he checked his 3 camera angles. 26 minutes of footage. Every word documented. He uploaded the video that night with the title, ICE agents attempt illegal detention of U.S. citizen. Legal observer intervenes. By morning, it had 4 million views. By the end of the week, 15 million. Should legal observers be allowed to intervene when witnessing illegal detention? Drop yes below. ***. Kenya Thompson was born March 15, 1996, at Martin Luther King Jr. Community Hospital in South Los Angeles. Her mother, Patricia Thompson, was a public school teacher for 22 years. Her father, Robert Thompson, worked as a mechanic for the city's metro transit system for 28 years. Kenya grew up in Compton. She attended Dominguez High School. She was on the honor roll. She played volleyball. She graduated in 2014. She went to Los Angeles Trade Technical College. She studied to become a certified nursing assistant. She graduated in 2016 with her CNA license. She got her first job at age 20 working at a nursing home in Inglewood. She cared for elderly patients, helped them eat, bathe, take medication. She worked there for 4 years. In 2020, during the pandemic, Kenya switched to home health care. She worked for Guardian Home Health Services. She visited elderly and disabled patients in their homes. She helped them with daily activities, took their vitals, made sure they were safe. By September 2024, Kenya had been a home health aide for 8 years. She cared for 12 regular patients. She worked 8-hour shifts, 5 days a week. She earned $19.50 per hour. She had never been arrested, never been in trouble, never even gotten a traffic ticket. She lived with her mother in the same house she grew up in, 2-bedroom house in Compton. She paid rent to help with bills. She sent money to her younger brother who was in college at Cal State Long Beach. She had never left the United States. Not once. Never had a passport. Never needed one. She was American, born and raised. On September 12, 2024, Kenya finished her shift at 2:30 p.m. She said goodbye to Mrs. Rodriguez an 84-year-old woman she'd been caring for 3 years. She walked 4 blocks to the bus stop on Vermont Avenue. She did this every Thursday. Same bus, same stop, same route home. She stood at the bus stop scrolling through her phone, looking at her cousin's baby photos on Instagram, thinking about what to make for dinner. Completely unaware that 2 ICE agents had noticed her, made assumptions based on her appearance, and decided she looked like someone who didn't belong. She was wearing medical scrubs, carrying a backpack with her work supplies, standing at a public bus stop. That was it. That was all she was doing when federal agents decided to detain her. After the video went viral and formal complaints were filed, the Department of Homeland Security Inspector General investigated agents Webb and Rodriguez. What they found was a pattern of targeting based on racial profiling and assumptions. Agent Marcus Webb had been with ICE for 8 years, assigned to Los Angeles for 6. His record showed 11 formal complaints alleging racial profiling, excessive detention, or unlawful stops. 9 were dismissed. 2 resulted in verbal counseling with no documentation. The IG pulled Webb's field reports. Over 6 years in Los Angeles, Webb conducted 1,647 immigration status checks. Of those 1,647 checks, 1,289 involved Hispanic or Latino individuals, 78%. 247 involved Black individuals, 15%. 111 involved other backgrounds, 7%. In a city where Hispanics are 48% of the population and Blacks are 9%, Webb was targeting minorities above their population rates. But here's the critical number. Of 1,647 checks, only 142 resulted in actual immigration violations. That's an 8.6% hit rate, which means 91.4% of people Webb stopped were legal residents or U.S. citizens. Over 1,500 innocent people detained, questioned, and humiliated based on assumptions. Agent Sofia Rodriguez had similar numbers. 6 years with ICE. For in Los Angeles, 7 complaints, all dismissed. She conducted 1,203 immigration checks over 4 years. 1,031 Hispanic/Latino, 86%. 132 Black, 11%. 40 other, 3%. Only 97 resulted in violations. An 8.1% hit rate. 91.9% innocent. The IG reviewed body camera footage and witness statements from dozens of their stops. They found consistent patterns. Stops at bus stops, grocery stores, laundromats, street corners. Public places where people were just existing. Phrases they used. Where are you from? Do you have papers? You match a description. We need to verify your status. Never specific descriptions. Never probable cause. Just assumptions based on appearance. The IG identified 23 cases where Webb and Rodriguez stopped U.S. citizens and demanded proof of citizenship. In 17 of those cases, the citizens showed valid ID and were released. In 6 cases, the citizens didn't have ID on them and were detained for hours before their citizenship was verified. One case involved a 67-year-old U.S. Army veteran at a grocery store. Webb demanded papers. The veteran showed his military ID. Webb claimed it looked old and detained him for 3 hours. Another involved a high school student walking home from school. Rodriguez stopped her, demanded papers, searched her backpack. The girl was 16, born in L.A., carrying her school ID. Rodriguez kept her on the sidewalk for 40 minutes. Another involved a construction worker on his lunch break. Webb approached him at a food truck, demanded papers, handcuffed him when he asked why. The man was a U.S. citizen from Texas, in L.A. for a job. Webb held him for 2 hours before releasing him with no apology. All documented. All in their files. All ignored by supervisors who valued high stop numbers over constitutional rights. Until they stopped Kenya Thompson. And Marcus Blake was there with cameras, legal knowledge, and the refusal to let it happen. Have you witnessed ICE stops like this? Type yes in comments. ****. Marcus Blake uploaded the video to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok on September 12th at 11:47 p.m. Title: ICE agents attempt illegal detention of U.S. citizen. Legal observer intervenes, South LA. By 6 a.m., it had 400,000 views. By noon, 2 million. By the end of September 13th, 15 million views across all platforms. The video showed everything. The agents approaching Kenya. Blake challenging them. Kenya crying, saying she just wanted to go home. Blake citing the Fourth Amendment. The ACLU attorney on speakerphone. The agents unable to articulate probable cause. Kenya showing her driver's license proving she was born in California. Civil rights organizations mobilized immediately. The ACLU of Southern California issued a statement calling it a textbook example of racial profiling and Fourth Amendment violation. The National Immigration Law Center demanded an investigation. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus and Congressional Black Caucus sent joint letters to the DHS Secretary. On September 14th, Kenya filed formal complaints with ICE's Office of Professional Responsibility and the DHS Inspector General. Blake provided all 3 camera angles as evidence. Jessica Chun provided her footage. 5 witnesses from the bus stop gave statements. The ACLU of Southern California took Kenya's case. Attorney Maria Santos filed a federal civil rights lawsuit on September 28, 2024, 16 days after the incident. The IG investigation began September 15th. They reviewed the video. They interviewed Kenya, Blake, and witnesses. They pulled Webb and Rodriguez's complete records. They found the pattern of 2,850 combined stops with hit rates below 9%. On September 20th, both agents were placed on administrative leave pending investigation. The story dominated local news. National news picked it up. CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC all played the video. The clip of Blake saying, "She's American. What's your probable cause?" became a meme. The moment Kenya showed her California driver's license and the agents had nothing to say, went viral separately with 10 million views. Community organizations held rallies. Know Your Rights workshops exploded in attendance. Blake became a local hero. He was invited to speak at churches, schools, community centers. He trained hundreds of people on what to do if approached by ICE. The video proved something many people had experienced but couldn't prove. ICE was targeting people based on appearance, not evidence. And it showed that resistance, legal, informed, documented resistance, could work. The IG investigation concluded November 4th, 2024, 53 days after the incident. Findings: Agents Webb and Rodriguez conducted an unlawful stop and detention of a U.S. citizen without reasonable suspicion or probable cause, based solely on racial profiling. They violated Kenya Thompson's Fourth Amendment rights. They demonstrated a pattern of similar conduct over multiple years. November 6, 2024, both agents were terminated from ICE. But that wasn't the end. November 12th, the Los Angeles County District Attorney filed misdemeanor charges against both agents. Deprivation of rights under color of law. False imprisonment. Official misconduct. The federal case was referred to the U.S. Attorney's Office. On December 3rd, federal charges were filed. Conspiracy to deprive civil rights. 18 U.S.C. Section 241. Deprivation of rights under color of law. 18 U.S.C. Section 242. Both agents pled guilty in a deal. January 15, 2025, sentencing. Webb, 18 months federal prison, 2 years supervised release, $50,000 fine, permanent law enforcement ban. Rodriguez, 15 months federal prison, 2 years supervised release, $40,000 fine, permanent law enforcement ban. Both are currently serving sentences. Webb at FCI Terminal Island. Rodriguez at FCI Dublin. Both will be released in 2026 with federal convictions, ensuring they never work in law enforcement again. But Kenya's civil lawsuit was still pending. Kenya Thompson versus agents Marcus Webb and Sophia Rodriguez, Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the United States of America. Charges: Fourth Amendment violations, racial profiling, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent supervision. Damages sought for $0.2 million. The government tried to settle quickly. First offer, $500,000. Refused. Second offer, $1.2 million. Refused. Third offer, $2.8 million plus agent terminations. Refused. The terminations already happened, Attorney Santos told federal lawyers. That's not a bargaining chip. We want full damages plus systemic reforms. Final offer came March 3, 2025, for $0.2 million plus comprehensive reforms. Kenya accepted. Was $4.2 million enough? Drop your thoughts below. Asterisk asterisk. The settlement wasn't just money. The reforms mattered more. Effective April 1, 2025, ICE implemented mandatory changes. All immigration status checks must be based on specific articulable facts documented in writing within 24 hours. Matching a description requires a documented description with details beyond race or ethnicity. Stops based primarily on race, language, or appearance without additional specific facts are prohibited and grounds for termination. All ICE agents conducting field enforcement must wear body cameras. Footage retained 5 years minimum and provided to subjects upon request. Independent Civilian Oversight Board established to review complaints. Board includes civil rights attorneys and community representatives with subpoena power. Legal observers have the right to observe and record ICE enforcement in public spaces. Retaliation against observers is prohibited. Any agent with 3 complaints in 12 months or demonstrating targeting patterns is flagged and removed from field duty. Zero tolerance for racial profiling. First verified violation, termination. Results were measurable. In Los Angeles, ICE field stops dropped 61% in the first year, but the hit rate jumped from 8.6% to 27%. Fewer stops, better targeting, more constitutional. Civilian oversight reviewed 412 complaints in year 1. Upheld 89, a 21.6% uphold rate versus the previous 6%. 23 ICE agents in LA were disciplined. 8 terminated. 15 received suspensions and remedial training. Marcus Blake's video became training material. It's shown in law schools teaching Fourth Amendment rights. It's used by community organizations teaching people how to respond to ICE. It's required viewing for new ICE agents showing what not to do. Blake continued his legal observer work. His organization trained 800 new observers in the first year after the video. They documented 127 ICE stops. In 34 cases, observers intervened and stopped unlawful detentions. Kenya used $1 million of her settlement to establish the Thompson Know Your Rights Fund. It provides free legal support and Know Your Rights training in immigrant communities. First year, helped 340 people. She still works as a home health aide. Still lives with her mom. Still takes the bus. But now she carries a card with the ACLU hotline number. And she's never been stopped again. The video has 22 million views now. It's been shared by civil rights organizations, immigration advocates, constitutional law professors. It's proof that you don't have to comply with illegal government action. That knowing your rights matters. That witnesses matter. That cameras matter. And that sometimes, resistance looks like a man in a yellow vest with a camera who refuses to let federal agents violate the Constitution. If this happened to Kenya, it's happening to others. Type your thoughts below. Asterisk asterisk. 3 cameras captured 26 minutes at a Los Angeles bus stop on September 12, 2024. They captured ICE agents approaching a U.S. citizen and demanding she prove she belonged in her own country. They captured that citizen crying, saying she just wanted to go home. They captured a legal observer who knew the law, cited the Constitution, called the ACLU, and refused to let them take her. They captured agents unable to articulate probable cause, unable to cite reasonable suspicion, unable to justify their actions. And they captured victory. A citizen walking away free. Agents driving away empty-handed. Constitutional rights enforced not by the government, but by a community member with a camera and knowledge. That video cost 2 agents their careers and their freedom. It triggered a $4.2 million settlement. It created systemic reforms across ICE operations. But more importantly, it proved something. You don't have to be helpless. You don't have to comply with illegal government action. If you know your rights, if you have witnesses, if you document everything, you can resist. Kenya Thompson is 28. She's still working, still living her life. With $4.2 million and a voice in the civil rights movement. Marcus Blake is 34. Still patrolling. Still training observers. Still proving that ordinary people can check government power. The video has 22 million views. It's teaching millions that constitutional rights aren't just words, they're tools you can use. What shocked you most? The agents having no probable cause? Blake's legal knowledge? Kenya being detained just for waiting for a bus? The $4.2 million? Drop it in comments. And if you believe knowing your rights can protect you, that legal observers serve a vital function, and that cameras and courage can stop illegal government action, subscribe. We're telling the stories that prove resistance works, that justice is possible, and that the Constitution still matters when people refuse to back down. Thanks for watching. See you next time.